Welcome to the Loaded Cannon and yet another post-match reaction and yet another occasion where we haven't managed to get the win. Um, I don't know what to make of this one, to be honest with you. I remember last season playing Chelsea at home, albeit smashing them 5-0, and that day lives long in the memory. It was just one of my favourite days. It's one of my favourite days. A brilliant game, and you know, I love beating Chelsea. You know what I'm like. If anyone's watched me over the years, I really don't like Chelsea. And I wanted to batter them today. I really wanted to batter them, and it annoyed me that we were level with them in the table. They're ahead of us by goal difference, albeit, but sort of level on points with Chelsea. I don't see Arsenal level with Chelsea. I think we're a better team than them. And yeah, fair enough, this was away, and if we were at home, I'd like to think we'd win. But I was hoping that we could put a marker down and kind of say, look, we've had a bit of a blip. We're much better than you. We go and win the game, close the gap on Man City after their fourth defeat in a row as well. We're very fortunate that whilst we're slipping up, Man City are slipping up. Unfortunately, Liverpool aren't. But I still think that with Liverpool, a new manager, first season, of that manager and everything, that we don't really know what they're at or they're about. We don't know what they're going to be like at the business end of the season. So I do think to myself, I'm not going to faint if Liverpool go on a bad run and drop some points. Look, if Arsenal can do it, if Man City can do it with managers that are established in their clubs, then Liverpool can definitely do it. For me, the opportunity today was about saying Man City have dropped points. I can almost say forget about Liverpool. Not that I'm taking them as taking them lightly in any way. It's just that I don't know what to expect from Liverpool. I didn't think they'd be this good this soon. So I'm just wondering, could it be a false dawn? So I can almost say, okay, just ignore Liverpool. Whatever happens, they're fine. But Man City, provided we can stay in touching distance of Man City, but we didn't make it happen today. I said last month that look at November fixtures, really, really tough. And I said by the end of November, we'll know everything about this team, whether we really are going to do one more than last season and get a title. And so far, 2 defeats, Newcastle and Inter, and 1 draw against Chelsea. And look, they're all 3 really, really tough away games. Now, what have we got left in November? We've got Nottingham Forest at home, we've got Sporting away, and we've got West Ham away as well. And there's a lot of away games. And right now our form is awful. We are not doing well enough. I said against Inter, I was out in Milan, and I couldn't believe how well we did against what I think is a really, really good Inter Milan team. I think that people don't actually give Inter, and I think maybe it's the Serie A effect. The league is not in its best moment. It's a far cry from the days of Serie A on Channel 4, if you remember that far back. But now I kind of feel like people don't rate Italian teams as well as they should. Inter are a really, really good team, and I thought we did brilliantly against them. And it's funny because now we've come to Chelsea away, we've drawn, and we're sort of disappointed. I remember a few years ago saying, look, a point away would take that to, against the remainder of the top 6. And you think, right, win your games at home and don't lose away. That was the way you look at it. And now things like this tell you the standards have been raised at Arsenal. We're no longer coming away from home, getting a point and saying, oh, good point. We're sort of leaving feeling a bit disappointed. When I was watching the game, I have to admit, I felt like we'll probably win this, we'll score, and I felt like we had Chelsea in the back foot. They had their threatening moments, don't get me wrong, but I felt like Arsenal, if anyone, Arsenal deserved to win. But I think on balance, and especially looking at the statistics as well, it was actually much closer than I thought, than I felt, and maybe that's just my Arsenal lenses. But I do think that against Inter, I felt like we didn't deserve to lose. And today, I'd say the same. We definitely didn't deserve to lose, but did we really do enough to say we deserved to win? I'd say probably not. So, on balance, a fair result. I'm just very frustrated because, as I say, missed opportunities with Man City. Every time they drop points, we don't respond. So that's quite frustrating. Now, let's talk about some of the moments in the game. Martinelli, I've sort of complained about him not being clinical enough. He had a chance in the first half, wasn't decisive. That finish, it was saved by the keeper, yet none of us are saying, oh, brilliant save by Sanchez. It was just sort of a save you'd almost expect him to make. As a striker or as an attacker, when you get an opportunity and the keeper makes a save and they don't get plaudits for making the save, you've done something wrong. If the keeper's going to make a save, you've got to make that part of his highlight reel. You've got to make that a save he's proud of. And Sanchez just stood firm, stuck an arm out. It wasn't clinical, wasn't decisive enough from Martinelli. And that's why when he scored his goal, I was so happy for him, because when he first received that ball, he had the option of playing it very quickly centrally to Saka to give Saka what might have been an easier chance. But I actually got nervous because Martinelli didn't rush it at all. He obviously had his mind made up straight away when he received that ball. And I thought, you've taken too long here. But he obviously had his plan made up, and it worked. And it was a very good, very decisive finish. If you're going to go, even if it's near post, that's what you choose, right? Far post or near post. Sometimes you might go under the keeper, whatever. But if you're going to choose one of those corners, when you take that shot, that ball's got to go towards the post. It's got to go in a corner. And obviously the first chance in the first half, it didn't. This one, he went near post, he was decisive, and yes, he was clinical. That just snuck inside the post, and he got it right. So well done, Martinelli, because ultimately it's fine margins. You're going to hit the post, and then we'd be all complaining again. But it didn't affect his confidence, and I'm really, really happy for him, because we need him firing. We really, really do. The dependency on Saka, it becomes easier for teams to sort of double up on Saka if the other winger's not doing it. The other thing, obviously, we've got to discuss is the return of Martin Odegaard. I'm so happy to see Martin Odegaard. And let's be honest, it's only because of him and sort of his brilliant ability on the ball to see a pass and then to execute that pass that he found Martinelli, because I feel like that's exactly what we've been missing. I've been watching Arsenal play and feeling like that final pass, that moment of creativity, that vision, that's the thing that's been missing. And to have Odegaard back was absolutely huge. Now, look, it's the international break coming up, 13 days until we have another game. And sometimes I feel like, it's come at the wrong time. Right now, I'm so, so glad I don't have to watch Arsenal play in another few days, because I'm not really expecting us to do brilliant things when we take to the pitch. It's sort of a struggle for us. I hope as many Arsenal players can avoid playing for their country as much as possible. Rice and Saka now we've got concerns about. They better not turn up for England. And we go again after this international break. The only thing that I can say is that, yes, we're miles away from Liverpool right now, 9 points. We're too far away from Man City. Any number of points behind Man City is too far away, because we know what they can do. But it is still early on in the season. If we can finish November, and let's face it, Nottingham Forest, Sporting Lisbon, and then West Ham, they're 3 games that on paper you think, come on, we should be able to win. So we didn't start November well. Hopefully we can end November well. And then you know what it's like, that December period, a lot of stuff can happen. Games come thick and fast as well. So hopefully after all of that December, Christmas, New Year period, we can look at the table then and be in a much better position. And of course, Liverpool, Man City to play each other. So if that result, there's 2 results I'd take there. Man City win or a draw. And if we get either of those 2, then hopefully we can just sneak back into contention. But yeah, look, another disappointing day. Probably a fair result. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. Are you all right with the draw? Are you disappointed? Anyway, I'll see you in 13 days' time, and hopefully it's a new Arsenal, an Arsenal of last season that we start seeing again, where we can sort of grind out some of those wins and return back to proper form. Take care.